Welcome back to JBSports. I'm your host, Sean Burton here, and today is Friday, so you know it is all about the normal sports. So today we're going to go over some NFL free agent stuff and some things happening around the NFL, which I know NFL's over, but it really never ends, especially if you're someone who watches it and analyzes it all the time. And then NBA, we'll do some standings. But first off, we're going to go over some of just like the free agents. So we're looking at wide receivers. Number one, definitely T. Higgins. T. Higgins is honestly, I personally believe he can be number one material as a wide receiver. Some people think the only reason he's doing as well as he was because Jamar Chase was taking some of the players away from him, but I don't really think so. I think T is very good. He had, I think, around 800 yards, and he was out for like uh, 3, 4, 5 games, something like that, somewhere around there. So if he had all the games in, he probably would have reached 1,000, and the Bengals would have 2,000-yard receivers. Next, I mean, some of these guys are a little older, but Stephon Diggs. Problem about him is he's hurt. Um, it's really hard to tell, especially from an ACL injury, if they're going to come back. But usually they can come back fine from an ACL injury. Next, I'm going to talk about 4 wide receivers. Amari Cooper. I could see the Bills re-signing him. He did pretty well for them, and if they like him enough, I could definitely see him coming back because the Bills, they have some time left in the playoff Super Bowl picture, but it's starting to dwindle more and more every time they lose to the Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes. And then the last one, Chris Godwin, wide receiver for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Also coming off a pretty bad, I think it was dislocated ankle injury. Did not look fun at all. So he has had a little struggle with that, but hopefully he can get through that because he's a good player. Next, we're going to go to uh, quarterback, top quarterback. Number one, Sam Darnold. Sam Darnold is such an interesting person interesting player to kind of talk about because I've talked to him before, and I've talked about how he looked very, very good during the regular season until the last game, and then the playoffs. He looked the last 2 games of the season. He looked bad. So I'm trying to think, do you trust him to be as good as he was with the Vikings, who had Addison, you have Justin Jefferson, Hawkinson, like some really good players around him. Do you trust him to go to another place and be good? Because you have some teams that need a quarterback. Raiders need a quarterback. Steelers are in a quarterback situation, which I'll talk about that in a minute. And there's a Giants, like the Giants could try to pick him up. So he's an interesting prospect. Not prospect, but an interesting player to kind of think about in free agency. Next one, Marcus Mariota. I mean, I don't think he's the biggest free agent, but just as a Washington fan, I think there's a chance he might go to the Raiders just because Chip Kelly, but we'll see. The biggest other 2 on are Justin Fields and Russell Wilson. Both are quarterbacks where Justin Fields looked pretty all right in the beginning of the season, then got benched for Russell Wilson, and Russell Wilson looked good for a while, but ended up not finishing well at all. So, do you trust Russell Wilson? I'm gonna be honest, I don't. After what happened near the end, he just could not get anything going on the offense. And again, that could be due to, you know, a crash out by George Pickens and then losing the game. Anything was happening, but Russell Wilson could not keep the team together, which is another reason why you kind of have to look at the coaching situation. But knowing the Steelers, you're just going to take him back anyway. So what's the point? Then Justin Fields, like I said, pretty good the first few games he played. When he played those games, he was statistically better than Patrick Mahomes. Keep that in mind. And he won some games. I mean, he struggled to get the offense going a little bit, but once he got it warmed up, it was working well. So honestly, if I'm the Steelers, give Justin Fields 1 more year. Give him a prove me contract. You prove yourself, you get the big contract. Give him one of those. See what he can do. If not, I mean, Justin Fields can probably find a spot on pretty much any team. He's a talented quarterback who just wasn't I'm gonna be honest. I just don't think he was used to having a good team around him. He wasn't used to not having to run all the time. So I think he just was not ready for it. But I think he could be ready for it now. And then other ones out there, Zach Wilson, Trey Lance, Taylor Heineke, my boy, Drew Lock, Jared Stidham. So just some random quarterbacks here and there. Next one, running back is interesting. Aaron Jones had a decent year for the Vikings. Wouldn't be surprised if they brought him back. Najee Harris, though. Najee Harris is interesting because he's a good player. I think sometimes he lacks just the explosiveness off the run. He has had some good games. He's had some bad games. I remember the first year or two, people were kind of questioning him. He had some pretty good games this year. I remember one play, I think it was like 40, 60 yarder, then did a jump into the end zone. So he can have those run plays, but he needs to do it more. And I don't know if he's done that yet. And we'll see if the Steelers keep him because he's a good running back. He's a strong running back, but you gotta see if they want him still. Jeff Wilson, AJ Dillon, Nick Chubb. I believe he got hurt again, so we'll see if they want to bring him back. Javonte Williams. You just have some J.K. Dobbins. I think the Chargers keep J.K. Dobbins because J.K. Dobbins was actually pretty good for them when he was healthy. So I think he's a really good person to keep. Kareem Hunt for the Chiefs, probably let him go. Cam Akers, honestly, keep Cam Akers and keep Jones, and you have a pretty good running back duo because they both played good when they were in. Fullback, fullback, but we don't really talk about fullback too much. Wide receiver, we already talked about. Tight ends, nothing really crazy in tight end. Zach Ertz, I hope we take him back. Mike Gesicki, I hope he comes back. Mo Alley Cox for the Colts doesn't really do too much, but he's just a big guy. Um, yeah, nothing too crazy. Not an exciting draft. Offensive line, Zach Martin. I don't know if he maybe like a 1 year contract somewhere, but he's 34. Maybe he can last another year or two, so give him a year or two contract, but nothing more. Cam Robinson and Brandon Sheriff, 33, same boat as Zach Martin. He was a commander for a while, and he just at the end of the time he was just hurt all the time, so he did not play well for us. Interesting though, Ronnie Stanley. That's a guy who might get paid some money. So that's offensive line. Tackle. Already went through these. So we'll go to edge. Edge. Some interesting ones. Khalil Mack, which I think has another good year, 2 to 3 years left in the tank. Maybe only 1 year, but honestly, I think he could be a commander. I really like what he does on the line. I like how he plays, and I think he'd be a really big run stop for us at the edge because that is one thing we sucked at. We were terrible run defense. So if we're able to get Khalil Mack in there and be like, hey, listen, you're older, injury, kind of just weigh on that, which is kind of like not the nicest thing, I guess. But hey, if we can get him for cheaper, I'd definitely pick him. Hassan Reddick, 30, not terrible. Matt Judon could be taken back. Demarcus Lawrence, Josh Sweat's a big one. Chase Young, he had a good year for the Saints, not gonna lie. It was better than the previous year with the Commanders / 49ers, but yeah, I don't think I'd take him back to the Commanders, but he might be able to get an okay contract somewhere. Then you have linebacker. Linebacker is interesting because Bobby Wagner, you have him there. You have, I think, Zach Bond. Zach Bond's going to get paid by someone. I don't know who's going to pay him, but if it's the Eagles, whoever it is, he's going to get paid money for the season he just had. He had a great season. I think Nick Bolton might be a free agent, which that's a very, very interesting one just because, Nick Bolton has been really good for he's been very good for the Chiefs. Devondre Campbell, maybe, but Dre Greenlaw, he could be interesting to bring in somewhere because he had that injury, but since he's been back, he's been producing really well for the 49ers. Then you have secondary, which also we'll go cornerback first. Carlton Davis, 28, not bad. Charvarius Ward is probably, I think, the best one to get. I think he's 29, so he's got probably one bigger contract left in him of really good play. He came from the Chiefs into the 49ers, and he's had some some struggles there because some unfortunate events, but I think he would be a great addition anywhere. I'm also thinking the Commanders' perspective, and I would love to have a guy like Charvarius Ward or the next guy, DJ Reed. DJ Reed sounded like he just wanted out of the Jets. If you recall, during the free agency, trade deadline, when we traded for Lattimore, he voiced he didn't really fully voice that with our team specifically, but when it happened, he like had an emoji saying there was some upset. He showed his displeasure to it, so you know he wants to go to the Commanders. So if we don't get Ward, I think DJ Reed would be a really good addition, but I still kind of want to draft someone. Jonathan Jones, interesting, 31, could be okay, but nothing crazy. Byron Murphy, Stephon Gilmore, he's older. That's like another 1 year deal. Dante Jackson, maybe some okay people there. Tre'Davious White. Then we go to safety. Justin Reed, Justin Simmons, Marcus Apes, Xavier Woods, Jeremy Chin. Please, Commanders. He's only 20. He's about to be like 27 in 3 months, something like that. Resign him. He was so good for us. Love him. Please resign him. Yeah, some safeties. Safeties. There's some good guys out there, but nothing too crazy. But especially people are just going to get re-signed pretty much. Justin Simmons is the guy that the Falcons probably will re-sign. And then special teams, Tressway, bring it back. Shoot, it's Tressway. I would love for Tressway to retire as a Commander, but just retire him as a Commander. There's no we'll see about it. Just retire him as a Commander. And then next, I'm going to look at Pro Football Focus and some players who think they could be traded. Number one, Deebo Samuel. Deebo Samuel has gotten permission from the 49ers to seek out trades. So he is the free agency list is big for the 49ers. It says here Brock Purdy in 2025-2026, Brock Purdy, George Kittle, Javon Hargrave, Dre Greenlaw, Juwan Jennings, Kyle Juszczyk, and Charvarius Ward and Samuel. So I think they'd like to get compensation for Deebo because you wait, someone can pick him up on a cheap contract and you get nothing for him. So maybe they can get a 4th or 5th round pick. As a Commanders fan, I wouldn't hate him here. I know him and Adam Peters have a connection, so he still has some time left in him, but I don't know. I think Juwan, in the position he was with Ayuk being injured, everybody getting injured, Christian McCaffrey being out, you'd think he'd produce more, but he was really bad this year. Next one, Kirk Cousins. I believe the Falcons already basically said they were going to just cut him in March, so maybe they can try to get something for him from these teams that really need one, but we'll see. It's tough because draft is going to be a big prover who needs a quarterback more. Wide receiver DK Metcalf, interesting. If I see them getting rid of anyone, I think it's Lockett. Jackson Smith and Jigba has been really, really good for them. He had a great sophomore season. So if anything, I see Jackson Smith going to 2. Well, he already basically is 2, and Lockett getting cut. So I don't really see Metcalf. It would be cool if he went somewhere, but I don't know. Deshaun Watson, I don't think anyone really wants Deshaun, so I don't really see that one. Garrett Wilson will be a costly trade for a team. You're going to have to pay up a lot for him. Not pay up, but give someone a lot for him. So there's some good teams that might think that Garrett Wilson is that last little piece they need and might try to trade for him. Commanders-wise, I don't think we have really the necessary means to trade for him unless we trade some second stringers, but we already don't have a lot of depth, so just taking away any depth we have, I don't really see it. But also pick-wise, we don't really have too many picks. George Pickens, interesting. I don't really see this one. He's their best wide receiver. He's their only really great offensive player. So Derek Carr, I wouldn't. I'm pretty sure the Saints said it's most likely they're going to stay with him, so I don't really see them trading him. Sam Hubbard, he hasn't been amazing for the Bengals. He wasn't amazing last year for the Bengals. He was kind of not really there, so I wouldn't be. So going off of the free agency, talk about that a little bit, and then talking about some trade. I do want to talk about the Jets for a little bit. Jets are in a hard spot because Garrett Wilson, I think he wants to be done with the team. That's why he's a trade candidate because he's voiced his displeasure with quarterbacking and the ownership. So he kind of wants out. They already said that Aaron Rodgers will not be their quarterback next year. So Aaron Rodgers is off the chopping block, which makes it really interesting because they don't really have a great. They don't have Tyrod Taylor is not a bad second option, but I think he's a really good. He's a good backup, but not a high quality starter. He's played amazing in some games, especially against the Commanders 2 years ago when we had Sam Howell, their starting quarterback for the year. He played great against us then, but I don't see him as a major starting quarterback. So with Tyrod, they need a sec. They need to either sign a guy or they can go into the draft. With Aaron Rodgers not being there, it might be a thing where you get someone more like Tyrod for him to coach him up because the way I see the Jets going is maybe draft off in the first round. They're going to probably go like an offensive tackle or that's all I really see because their line's really bad. So I see them taking like an offensive tackle, something like that. And then in the second or third round, that's when you draft like a Milrow or Dart, not Ewers, just because I don't think Ewers would fit that system well. I don't think Tyrod can really teach him. He can teach him how to be like a vet and stuff like that, but their play styles aren't really like I think too similar, and I just don't see the connection there. But yeah, I definitely see the Jets maybe drafting quarterback second, third round because like why not? I mean, you're already struggling as quarterback really, so you don't have a good quarterback situation anyway, so you take a chance on a Dart or a Milrow. I think Milrow could be good there. And just let them sit a year and then put them out there. And if they're bad, okay. It's not like you spend a first rounder on them, which Jets might be trying to trade up, but I don't think they will. This draft I think is pretty set for the first few. But other than that, yeah, it sucks for Aaron Rodgers what happened with the Jets because that team was very, very interesting. And in the first game, they come out and he goes out and just tears ACL. It sucked. But yeah, that was rough. And then the next year, which he didn't put up terrible numbers last year, but it's just the record was atrocious. So Jets wise, do I see them signing a guy like Sam Darnold? No. Maybe a Russell Wilson, maybe a Justin Fields, possibly someone like that, but I don't think they bring Sam Darnold back, especially just the history they already have. So yeah. Let's go to NBA. NBA standings. We're going to start with Eastern Conference. So I'm just going to go first six, and I'm playing Cleveland's leading. Not a surprise. They've been absolutely lights out this year, except against my Rockets. Boston, defending champs. New York Knicks. Cat has been very good there. I was skeptical at first, but he's been amazing. Pacers. Pacers are always like in there now. Bucks, they're one game, I think, behind the Pacers. Yeah. Detroit's an interesting one. Detroit has been it's an insane increase from last year to this year. It is great to see. I would love to see the Pistons stay in the playoffs. Orlando Magic behind them. Such a rough year just because the health issues and all the injuries issues the Magic have had. It's been rough to watch, but hopefully their whole team can get healthy and they can get back on the winning streak. Hawks, if I'm them, I'm trying to lose, but I don't see them keeping Trae Young much. So we'll see what they can. Let's see what they can cook up. But they're still eighth. They're still eighth. So number 9, Miami Heat. We'll see what Wiggins can do down there, but I don't know if he'll lead them to a strong playoff showing. And then the Bulls, they could stay 10th, but the other teams below, I don't really see too much winning. Like the 76ers, they've been losing. Brooklyn Nets, Raptors. I think this Brandon Ingram steal, the 3 years, I think 100 something million, is more for next year than this year. This year, I think they kind of know the season's kind of already over, but they can plan on for next year. Next, Hornets, they just keep being bad. They draft really good, though. That's the weird thing. I was talking to my friend, and we were talking about how they usually draft really well. Their team just can't get it together ever. Like, think of it, Miller, LaMelo, um, you know, what's the power forward's name that had the issues? Bridges, like Washington. So they've drafted some good guys. It just hasn't worked out. And then the Wizards at the bottom. Wizards getting Cooper Flag on 100%. I don't know why I went down all the way. I just said I was going to do the top. I might as well do the other full side too. Number one, Oklahoma City Thunder, pretty good, and they haven't struggled with too much injuries except for Chet, but Chet's back and he got dunked on by Anthony Edwards, which was insane. And Anthony Edwards posted it because it's on Chet Holmgren, so it's pretty cool. Next one, Memphis Grizzlies. They snuck up the leaderboard, and the Denver Nuggets both have the same wins, but the Memphis Grizzlies have one less loss. So we'll see if they can tie it up for the Nuggets. But Nuggets have been pretty good. Russell Westbrook has actually been pretty good there for them. So he is injured right now, I believe, so he's not playing. But when he has been playing, he's been pretty good. Him and Jokic are a good duo, honestly. But Murray also had a really good game the other night. Number four, the Rockets. They've slipped a little bit from number two. We were on a huge losing streak. It was bad. I think we did just lose another one, so we need to tighten it up. But about my Rockets is we have a big trouble finishing the fourth quarter because I don't know. It's some reason success in the fourth quarter is basically we're allergic to it, so we don't like to do that. A lot of times it can be because players like Dylan Brooks, Fred VanVleet, Jalen Green, sometimes just want to take the ball into their own hands and not the team, and they kind of mess it up sometimes. Number five, the Los Angeles Lakers. I see them still probably climbing up a little bit. Hopefully not above my Rockets, but there's a chance just because Luka is already looking pretty good there. He hasn't had full minutes yet, but by the time he's been there, he's been good. And then the Clippers below them. Clippers, interesting team, plagued by injuries. I mean, Kawhi's been injured how many years in a row? So we'll see if he can come back and be full time. But I don't know. James Harden's been had a pretty good season, pretty decent. Number seven, Minnesota Timberwolves. Started off slow, but started getting pretty hot near the end. Eight, Dallas Mavericks traded their star, Luka Doncic, for Anthony Davis, and Anthony Davis is already out indefinitely. So uh, I don't know what else to say there, but that sucks. He shouldn't have done it. Number nine, the Kings. Kings don't look bad with their new team. Honestly, I'm kind of liking Sabonis, DeRozan, and Levine. They're mostly older, so it won't last as much, but I'm honestly liking the combination. Golden State Warriors. Jimmy looked good that first game. Looked like Jimmy might have pooped his pants one game. So don't know about that, but they won't worry about it. Worry about basketball. They might keep their spot, but it's going to be in heavy contests with the other team, the Phoenix Suns, down 2 games, 3 games actually. No, 2.5. Yes, 2.5. And I don't know. I think it's pretty locked on this side. Below them, the San Antonio Spurs. They have good spots. I think De'Aaron Fox is a good future person for them too. As much as I said that for the Raptors with Brandon Ingram, I think Fox is more of a future player for them. Portland Trailblazers, honestly, they've been pretty good recently. They've won a lot of games. They've won a lot of games that I probably didn't expect them to win. Scoot hasn't looked bad. Anthony Simons hasn't looked bad. So, honestly, interesting team for the future, but not this year. Utah Jazz, rough team. And then New Orleans Pelicans. Zion Williamson can never say safe. He always is either in trouble with the team or hurt or something else is happening. But yeah, overall, teams I see staying in heavy playoff picture is, of course, Cavs, Celtics, Knicks. Other side, OKC, Memphis, Denver. I have to put my Rockets. Lakers are definitely going to go up. Other side, going up. Milwaukee, maybe Detroit. I really hope Detroit stays. For some reason, I'm a huge fan of Cade Cunningham. I might have said something about him on podcast earlier saying that he deserved the money. Well, I take it back. He definitely deserves the money from what I've seen from him. He has been a machine this year. He's had multiple triple doubles. He's been insane. Love Cade Cunningham. So I'd love for him to get his chance in the playoffs and kind of show everyone what he's made of. But other than that, we talked about some standings. Mid-season awards. With the NFL, I didn't pay full attention to it, so I'm going to hold off on mid-season awards. I'll do end of season because I'm going to start really paying attention now that NFL's kind of over. I'm still going to do NFL stuff because I love the NFL and I love the back aspect of it with trades, with the draft. So I'm still going to be on that, but I'm going to try to focus on the NBA a little more so I can be more specific about it. But I will pass on mid-season awards. But of course, I'd love to put all my Rockets there. But no, everybody knows we're probably not winning any awards. But thank you guys very much for watching this video. If you liked it, stay tuned for the next one. Subscribe. But thank you.